Too much peppers, or is that Robert De Niro?
That's my Max Payne. I don't know if I can do it better if I'm looking in a mirror, you know, like my family's all dead. Okay, so we have a winner from the contest we did on the inbox a little while ago. Devin is actually going to be picking the winner tonight. He's going to do that, so head over to the forum. And the winner gets to choose between Insanely Twisted Shadow Planet, Mirror's Edge, and Super Meat Boy. You get to pick 2 of those. I'm giving away 2 games. The Rise of the Triad. That's coming out next week. I believe it's the 30th. I may be wrong. Maybe it's the 31st. But whatever the correct information is available to you, because you have the internet. All right, so we're going to give away 3 copies of that. I called them. We pulled some strings, and we got 3 copies of this game. It's only $15. You know, people were complaining on the internet that it is too cheap and demanding higher prices, so I think they're going to raise the prices. I saw on Twitter, they're like, you asked for it, and we're doing it. $59.99, $15 DLCs. Anyway, $15 for Rise of the Triad, and we're going to be playing it like crazy.
And we totally promise not to troll you by giving you the original version.
Yeah, the new version, 2013 version. So if you guys want a chance to win, you guys can click on the screen, and it'll take you to our forum where there is a question posed to you, and the question is, what do you miss most from 90s era shooters? That sounds 90s era shooters. What do you miss most about old school shooters? All right, doesn't have to be from the 90s, but as long as it's an old school shooter, you know what they feel like. Sure.
Sorry,
we're just trolling each other. We've got to hustle through this. You've got to go see a movie tonight.
I've had way too much caffeine.
Oh God, and I'm drinking caffeine right now.
I've had like a 2 liter of Coke, so I'm like shaking over here.
If you haven't had enough of all the deals that are going on, we've got some pretty good deals on Game Fan Shop as well. So check that out. There's a Skyrim right now. The Legendary Edition is on sale over there, so pick that up because we're going to be making a lot of Skyrim videos, so just watch them all. Okay, yeah, I don't know what I just did.
Yeah, the Skyrim videos, I don't think you guys understand just how epic these mods are. They're photorealistic Skyrim, so it's unbelievable. I was like, oh, what game is that? And it's like Skyrim is like, no, really, what game is that? Skyrim?
Yeah, the EMB series is amazing. That coupled with all the different graphical mods. And right now what I'm doing is like I'm trying to optimize it because it can only really run on my 780. So I'm trying to optimize it, and I'm actually going to put a 760 in my I'm a mess today. It's probably the meds. I'm on like all kinds of meds for this headache. I'm going to be putting in a 760 in the machine so I can try out all the mods with that, and I think it's going to break, so I'm going to have to optimize things. We'll see what happens. All right. BMW is coming out with an electric car. They've got the i3. They've got the little lowercase I. Lowercase I, you know, it's technology.
Were they doing that before Apple? If so, they should sue the crap out of them.
Well, the 325 lowercase I, but now they're putting the I in front of the number. You know, like Apple, everything, that little I goes first, and lowercase I, and the big thing next, so it's I, and then the big 3.
Fabulous.
I've never heard you say that before. That's weird.
Yeah.
$42,000, only slightly more expensive than the Chevy Volt, I believe. And you should be able to, well, you're going to get about 80 to 100 miles on your battery. 170 horsepower.
Sounds like a really good commuter vehicle.
Yeah, not bad. And it should take around 20 minutes to charge the battery to 80%.
Oh, well, it has to do with the technology. Because the battery, like, you can dump energy into the battery really fast until the charge gets high.
And then it's like, hold on.
If you keep dumping energy into the battery at the same rate, the battery tends to catch on fire.
Oh, yeah.
Remember those laptops that caught on fire?
That's what happened, yeah.
We didn't know that then.
Now, this is just a guesstimation because, you know, the BMW did not release any details on how fast it charges, but based upon the technology, that's what we should expect. So there's that. Here's a picture of it. Why must all electric cars look like electric cars? It's like when you go to get a haircut. Like me, I know personally, I don't want like some guy that looks like a lumberjack cutting my hair. I want someone that looks like, you know, a haircut person to cut my hair. Does that make sense?
I always wanted to be a lumberjack.
It's like, stand there, now you're done.
Leaping from tree to tree.
And then just one swing and...
As they float down the rivers of mighty British Columbia. Sorry.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm a lumberjack and I don't...
Oh, yeah.
That's what I was going with that. Lost. The joke was lost. The Ubuntu Edge. Are you getting one of these?
No.
No? Do you want one of these?
I like the idea. I like the idea of a totally open phone. Mm-hmm. But until we've got about 3 times the horsepower in a phone, I don't think it's going to work. Maybe it would, but I don't know.
Masskiller sent me an email about this like a long time ago, so I need to send him a shout out because I did read your email, dude. So I didn't ignore you. I didn't write you back because I was like, oh, awesome, I'm looking at stuff and oh, my brain came out. That's why I didn't write you back, because I was doing a bunch of stuff. But you guys should check this out. It's going to be Ubuntu and a phone and a computer in a tiny little sexy box for like $700. Could it take over the world? Maybe. And the other interesting thing is they're not going for ultimate pixel density. They're going for ultimate quality as far as the color and the contrast and everything else. So that could be an interesting, idea.
I think that if they get the software experience right, I might change my mind, but it'd have to be a really breakthrough user experience.
Well, I mean, you got Android.
Well, Google has really. I mean, if you go back and you play with like the Android 1.6 emulators and look at where we are today and how quickly we've gotten here, it's incredible.
Speaking of Google, let's talk about the Chromecast for just a moment. Now, we've seen this a lot before with set-top boxes that have like Apple TV and
Roku. Roku's the other really popular one.
Yeah. So it's similar to that, where it allows you to stream content to your television from your different devices. But here's what's different. Most of these devices require a proprietary controller or a proprietary remote that you have to sit there and learn and play with. This one allows you to stream from your phone or your tablet or your laptop or your desktop computer. So you don't have to have any additional hardware. You just pick this up and install an app, and then you can do whatever you want with it.
There was one other interesting difference, and that is there's an interpretation here that the Chromecast can actually play a stream directly from the web. And so, like, if you bring up media on your phone or your tablet and you play it on the television, there's that functionality there already. Like, if you've got like a PS3 Media Center or something, it'll do it. But some of the documentation for the Chromecast reads like it may be able to play a web stream on its own. So you could shut down your tablet completely or do something else, and it'd be fine.
Yeah, well, this acts as a remote, and it's not going to be like a lot of the devices. It's like a screen mirror. And it's not that. It's actually just you tell it to do something and you set your device down and you're done for there.
Yeah, the screen mirror thing's a little irritating because depending on the app, you may not be able to close the app and do something else while that's running.
Yeah, so this one, it really is more of just you tell it what to do and it does it. And they're for sale on Amazon already. They're more expensive on Amazon than they are on like the news article, so I don't know what that's all about. I guess demand. How about a quick follow-up story on the kids downloading too much stuff on iTunes while they're or on the iTunes store while they're using their parents' iPad and running up massive bills. So a couple kids ran up $3,000 iTunes bill.
Oops.
Yeah. Oh my God. This shouldn't be news anymore because everyone knows it's happening. Just parents, right now the big complaint is that there are no controls. There's no way to put a password in. It's so easy. The kid's like, hey, I need some more gold or I need some more gems. And just click yes, yes, yes. They don't know what they're doing. They're too young to understand the implications of spending $3,000. Just take your credit card information off of iTunes. That's the easiest thing to do until they implement some sort of feature where it's like a password where the parent has to come and enter a password to allow the child to purchase said thing. Fixed. Just everyone take off your credit cards.
I like that one of the demos for the new version of Android is profiles that actually support in-app limits. And so you can create a profile on your Android tablet and be like, no purchases are allowed. And that's built into the new Android.
They should do that with iTunes, but they're making so much money.
Yeah.
Negligence pays really well. Well, this is fun. There's a major SIM card security flaw. And it's a lot of fun.
But it's not quite as serious as they make it out to be.
Well, it doesn't affect all devices.
It doesn't affect all devices, and a lot of devices don't implement this anyway. This particular thing that's exploitable. It's very old.
If you've got a really old device with a SIM card, someone may be able to essentially hack into your SIM card, get your information from your SIM card, and then they can do all sorts of things. They can...
Well, it's not even necessarily that your device is old. It could be that your device's architecture is old, but you just bought it last year.
Yeah, but it still doesn't affect everybody. It's not as extreme. I mean, still maybe millions of people, but not hundreds of gazillions of people.
Probably nobody in America.
You've never been to Florida, have you? I've been spouting so much hate for Florida lately. I've been drinking haterade. Not
very many people in the European Union. Probably, I think it was about 20%, it said, at most. That's probably an overestimate.
Have you seen the time?
Oh, God, is it rant 30 already?
Indeed, old chap, it is indeed rant 30.
We must be going to London.
We're going to London to talk about David Cameron, who obviously has his knickers in a wad. All right, so David Cameron, he has called for a crackdown on porn, and you know what? It's all about the children. We've got to do this to save the children. It's always about the children, because if you argue about something that impacts children, you are a hideous, evil, awful person.
Bollocks.
They're waiting until I finish. I see you like leaning toward the mic like any second now. I can say bollocks. It is bollocks, as a matter of fact. Well, here's what's really happening right now. It's not about the children, so go ahead and erase that. And anybody that says it's about the children, well, they're a stooge.
Because we don't believe that anybody is this stupid. There's no way. I mean, it's not even possible.
So he wants a porn block. Now, here's the one thing that's interesting. If you do want pornography, you can call your local whatever provider and opt into it. That's going to be a lot of fun. Like, yes, of course. Well, I'm calling about a certain issue. You see, I've not been able to get my knocks off lately, and well, it's going to be a lot of awkward hemming and hawing phone calls, don't you think?
It's like we need to start a campaign. It's like you call into your ISP, and the code is, I'd like a number 6. and just all ISPs understand that when the customer is like, yes, I'd like my account set up for number 6, please. Oh, yeah, porn, yeah.
You know what they're probably going to do? They're probably going to hire people that work at the ISPs to take these specific calls, and then they're going to badger you like, what are you into? just to make you very awkward. That's what I would do if I was David Cameron. I'd be like, we need to install someone to make it very awkward for them.
Was it possible that I could just get the R and R++ rated sites? But I really am not interested in anything more kinky than that. Can you just block those?
Well, anyway, it's not even about porn.
It's not.
It's not about children, and it's not about porn.
You guys have to be skeptical when somebody invokes this argument. I mean, it's not. We're not saying it's not a serious issue, and there are, in our society, we spend a ton of money and a ton of law enforcement resources pursuing this type of thing. But anybody that immediately invokes this, they've got an agenda.
So that's the first thing he's done. And the second thing that David Cameron has done, which is just the most ridiculous thing ever, and I cannot believe he would actually be this stupid. So I think he's playing. He's trolling everyone. Very, very low troll level. Very low.
1 out of 10.
Yeah. He's saying that Google, Bing, and Yahoo enabled child porn. Let's name a few other things that enable child porn. And we are not making light of child porn. It is a sick and disgusting thing. They need, if they want to fix that, they should put more money into healthcare, mental health care.
Yes.
Because it's a mental illness and it's disgusting. But based upon what he is saying, and again, this argument is not about porn or child pornography, here are some other things that enable child pornography. Electricity comes to the house, powers on your computer, and you use your computer for child porn. Electricity enables child porn. The mouse is used to browse websites and click on links that take you to child porn. The mouse is responsible for child porn. It helps to enable it. You see how ridiculous this argument is? Now we want to talk about the agenda here, because that is what we need to get to. And all the websites are never talking about this, because the websites never look for the root of the problem. They're happy hacking the branches. Like, ooh, there's branches.
Well, he said this was about the children, so it's probably about the children. It's like, no. See, there are technical people behind the scenes that are like, you can't possibly block this. I mean, Iran and China have been trying to do this for years. Where is Britain going to succeed when China and Iran can't?
I'm going to take this a step further. It's not even about censorship.
Nope.
This is not about censorship. Everyone, if they do take it further, a lot of people take it and they go, oh, this is a censorship issue. Now we're just like China and Iran and the United States of America. It's not about that either, guys. Here's what this is about. This is going to fail. The blacklist cannot work. You can't just have a blacklist. What they're going to do is say, you know what? Things keep getting around our blacklist. It does not work. We are still getting images in Google search. We are still... you can't block all pornography. So what we need is a whitelist to only allow certain websites in. And then all the old money companies are sitting around going, yes, a whitelist. Then we can tier things like we do with television. We know how to monetize that. And in this section of the country, we'll have a whitelist that allows these plans. And if you go with Verizon or Comcast, you can have this tier and this tier. And if you want Yahoo and Google on the same plan, well, that's going to cost extra. And it can't be a la carte. We've got to bundle these things together and give it to you that way. And if you want your thing to be on the whitelist, well, you're going to have to pay for it.
If you want to control any piece of media, this is the first step.
So that's what I think is going to happen. I do not think that this will actually pass, but I think that may be what's going on behind closed doors. They're like, we need a way to better control the internet so that we can serve our content to the people and charge them for it. And there needs to be a whitelist. So I think that that's the direction they're going in, and we need to see that now so that we can stop them in the future.
Yes. We see that this is a very transparent, thinly veiled attempt.
We see you, David Cameron.
We don't believe you're that dumb. Although you might be.
I don't know, some of the people I've talked to.
And if you are, it's just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Chances are your paid lobbyist is behind the scenes, petting his evil cat or something.
Sending SEAL teams over here, or sending what are they sending? MI6 or something?
It's like, stop pointing out the obvious. I'm actually surprised that some of the resistance, like some of the UK papers and things like that, have come out to talk about this kind of thing, and they're sort of hitting around the right kind of things, that this can't work because it's not technologically possible. A computer's not smart enough to look at this stuff and make the determination.
But a whitelist could definitely work.
Yeah, if you
and once this massively fails, it'll be like, oh, we got the whitelist, of course.
If you can only go to AOL and CNN and The Guardian, yeah, I mean, problem solved.
No, the Daily Mail, that's the one. They love that one. It's like Daily Mail, Daily Mail, we love that. It's just like a tabloid.
That'll bring back all the country borders and stuff too, because it's like, I don't know if we can allow sites in America. We need local sites that we have control over. It's a first step down a deadly, deadly road. We're
going to briefly talk about the NSA. There's not been a lot going on. Of course, we had the failed vote to try to stop the NSA from collecting all of our phone data.
It's like 201 to 17. It's like, oh, oops. It's like, we can defund this.
It wasn't that bad. I mean, all the bill was going to do is just specifically defund the one section of the NSA that is collecting all of our phone data, and it was also going to give them explicit language that if they continue to do this, they will get in trouble in some way, because the NSA can move their budget around a little bit. Like, oh, well, we're not getting this money over here anymore, but let's shift some things around and then still collect phone data. But they weren't talking about the mass. What's that?
How did it not pass?
How? Yeah, number one, how did it not pass?
I don't understand.
Well, it's a strange issue because you've got Michelle Bachmann agreeing with Obama.
What universe is this?
They're both obviously...
I must have gotten my Einstein-Rosenberg bridge working. I don't understand. I've slid into a parallel universe.
Or the guys who have all this information at the NSA have an agenda, and they've called up both of them and said, like, hey, we've got these photos of you two doing this stuff, and... you guys both have to vote this way or else...
That's certainly what's happening to poor Anthony Weiner.
Poor Anthony's Weiner.
Yeah, he can't keep it in.
Yeah. Well, how about that?
He doesn't seem like a terrible guy otherwise. I kind of feel bad for him.
I forgot. Oh, yeah. We called this a long time ago. And we said that the feds were going to be putting some heat. I guess that's the word they use here, but I didn't think it's the word we used. But they're going to be pressuring web firms to give them master encryption keys. And I think some of the guys at Opera were like, hey, they're bothering us. These guys are bothering us. They want a master encryption key, and that's against the law. And Google has had no comment, and Microsoft has had no comment, and Yahoo and Facebook and all those guys have had no comment.
Although, interestingly, Google has implemented what's called Perfect Forward Secrecy, PFS, and that basically means that every client has a temporary master encryption key. So it's like some kind of elliptic curve encryption, and so there's not one single master key. And Facebook has said that they're implementing that right now, and it should be done soon. But they're the only two companies pretty much on the entire planet that are using that kind of secrecy.
Keith Alexander is going to hate that, because just with the standard encryption, he's already saying that, here's what he says. He says that it's virtually unreadable. Well, yeah, that's kind of the idea.
Well, not only that, but you get, they're also doing data collection on American citizens that they know are American citizens that use encryption. That came out.
That's even bigger than that. Stephen Hoyer of the Democrat, I guess he's a Democrat in the House. I don't know where I'm going with that. Anyway, here's what he says. He quotes Section 215 of the Patriot Act, Section 501 of FISA, to collect records, including telephone records, that pertain to persons who may be in communication with terrorist groups, but are not already subject to investigation. You see that? But they're not already subject to investigation. So what they're doing is he's essentially saying that we need to collect all of this data on everybody in the entire country, in case they actually may be communicating with terrorists. So you may be, guys out there, you over there in the hallway hiding, listening to us, you may be talking to terrorists, so they better collect all the information just in case, so they can discover whether or not you're talking to terrorists. That's totally legit, yeah.
If you're using encryption, you might be talking to a terrorist. We're going to keep that, too. If it's not encrypted, that's cool. And that's just so World War II.
Papers, please.
Nazi Germany. I mean, it's crazy.
Papers, please.
It's like, we've got this. I mean, even the most well-intentioned database of all citizens down to the most minute detail can't end terribly in the wrong hands. I mean, that is just, why do we not learn from our own history? Why?
You know what's really funny? This is the last thing we're going to do about security. Then we're going to talk about hardware and some games and some fun stuff. But this is hilarious. The NSA does not have the technology to do an internal search of its own email documents.
Well, this was part of a Freedom of Information
Yep.
request, right?
Yeah, so a Freedom of Information request was made, and it was happens to do something, I think National Geographic, or National Geographic Channel was working on a documentary, and a bunch of correspondences went back and forth, and someone did a Freedom of Information request requesting to see all the documents that were back and forth from the NSA and the National Geographic. So the response was like, well, we can't do that. We can't just search everyone. We don't have the technology for that. Maybe if you wanted to know just the correspondences between, the NSA's one employee from the NSA and National Geographic, we could probably give you that. But we have 30,000 employees. We can't just do a search through all of them. We don't have the technology. What?
I guarantee you, if Dick Cheney was looking for that information, it wouldn't be any problem at all.
Kidding me? It would be like before he finished his sentence, it'd be like, here you go, Mrs. Cheney. Don't kill me. Don't shoot me.
He is the Darth Vader of our time.
Darth Vader's the Emperor. He's excellent. Are these papers complete? No, Mr. Cheney.
It is pretty much like that. I mean, that's...
Oh, hell. What about a Ponzi scheme? Bitcoin Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, so the SEC's filed charges in this.
This is pretty crazy. It's 700,000 Bitcoins worth. 4.5 million at the time. Can you imagine if he had the Bitcoin, if he held onto the Bitcoins and all that? I'm not sure where all the money went to, but
It was apparently a $60 million scam, all told.
I don't understand Ponzi schemes because people give him money. I think that it should almost be like, oh, well, good job. You guys are stupid enough. This guy was like, he would go into forums and say things like, I have never come close to ever having a loss on these investments. And what are your investments? Oh, I take care of all my investments and I don't have any losses and it's perfect. And of course it's a Ponzi scheme. People are so freaking greedy that they ignore blatant fraudulent nonsense like that. And they're like, oh, well, I am going to make money. And then, of course, some people end up on the short end, but I don't know.
It is kind of interesting that, well, I really hope this doesn't start the SEC down a slippery slope with all Bitcoins. They probably won't. Or we might see the Winklevoss twins brought up on SEC charges for all their Bitcoin dealings. Which would be kind of lol.
Yeah, I haven't
you guys
seen
remember the Winklevi?
The Winklevi. I haven't seen them in a while. All right, hardware. The new Nexus 7 2013 is looking pretty good. 323 pixels per inch.
There was a mainstream article that compared the Nexus 7 to the iPad, and this mainstream writer guy was like, "Oh my God, the Nexus absolutely destroys the iPad because the high resolution display and 32 gigs and $100 cheaper." And
Snapdragon.
blah, blah, blah.
The Snapdragon is stupid fast.
Yeah.
The new Snapdragon.
So he's like, Apple's gonna be in a hard way. And it's like, yep.
And the price. I want it for one reason. I want a new e-reader.
I wish they could have sent us one. Oh well.
Hey, we did a hell of a review. I mean, I watched the review and then ended up almost buying one.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more. Say no more.
Project Logan.
What?
Yeah, Project Logan.
No.
Apparently, I'm going to be used to power DirectX 11 smartphones, with using the power of Logan. I don't know.
The most interesting thing about this article was that apparently Project Logan is going to be more powerful than a PS3.
It's pretty ridiculous. Well, you saw the IRA demo, right? The extraordinarily ridiculous IRA demo that was running on a not a Tesla, but a Titan.
I would like to see
It's running on Logan.
I would like to see an unbiased source report the power utilization.
And I'd like to see an unbiased benchmark as well.
Yeah.
DirectX 11 on a smartphone. OpenGL 4.4. Yeah.
If we've got DirectX 11 on smartphones, it's only a matter of time before we need x86 on smartphones. /hate mail.
Well, funny you mentioned that because now there's a new Haswell chip coming out that's only 4.5 watts.
Dun 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 dun.
It's impossible.
And this is only
You
the
guys
first.
are crazy for ever even thinking of comparing ARM to Haswell. We got hate mail over this.
Yeah.
And then 3 days later.
And we're not saying that it's an event that it's absolutely going to happen, but I mean, I'm really impressed with how much Intel's been able to reduce the power utilization. And there's an article on AnandTech. You should go read it because Anand Shimpi totally does not. He's like, Intel said that they had really low power utilization, and I invited to come down, and I caught them rigging the thing. And then they were like, no, really, we need to look at it again. And he's like, okay. And he let him look at it again, and he's like, well, it is actually worth an article and really impressive. So I thought that was interesting.
He's usually such an Intel fan that I would have But that's pretty cool that he called him out.
Yeah, yeah. Well, apparently he called them out, but he didn't say anything about it, is because there was no article about how that happened. But my takeaway from the article was that he caught Intel doing that, and it was like, no, Intel. And then Intel came back and were like, no, let's do it again.
I wonder if this has MMX extensions.
It does indeed have MMX extensions.
Oh, God, why? Because we need them in case you run something from 1904.
Every chip is backward compatible with every other chip. So, I mean, that's how that goes.
Except some don't have extensions for the K parts don't have extensions for
VTD.
VTD. No VTD.
No directed I/O, which makes me very sad because we're building a VMware machine that's coming up for a video.
You guys are not even going to believe what it can do.
That ultimate home server video that we've been meaning to do for a long time, we've reconciled the irreconcilable.
You guys will not believe. Never mind. The supercomputers. So they're already headed out to the early for the early people who were backers, and there are 16 core boards up for pre-order right now. So if you guys want to get a I have to say it that way now because it rolls off one's tongue. Turn Scottish for a moment.
Bollocks.
Do they say bollocks as well?
No.
It is.
No, they don't.
Do they not?
No.
The dog's bollocks is not good there.
Nope.
The lamb's bollocks. That's the best thing ever in Scotland. The lamb's bollocks. Well, I'm just going to skip on over this. If you guys want a massively parallel, tiny little computer, there's a 64-core version coming out. Be good for servers.
The amazing thing here is that it only runs a couple of watts. Well, not really. It's more than a couple, but it's a vanishingly small amount of power. And so it's really good for things that parallelize really well. Games.
So we've got the Rise of the Triad giveaway going on. Again, there's a link in the description because I don't feel like editing it back in right now. And Shadowrun Returns is coming out. Have you been looking at this game? There's like a bunch of really good games coming out like now-ish.
I've missed it, actually.
Shadowrun Returns. Did you ever play the original Shadowrun on Genesis or Super Nintendo? Both really good games. And then there's also the desktop or tabletop game.
I had a friend that had a Genesis, and we played it for like maybe 16 hours, and it was like, I have to get a Genesis. And I never did. So I'm
it was
probably
pretty good on
this.
Super Nintendo as well, but it was not the same game and had slightly different music. But, you know, they brought back a lot of the original people, and the Metascore right now is 76, but I need to play it for myself because the Metascore is always a mess. I can't stand this website, Metacritic, but I wanted to bring it up just to, you know, take a look at some of the reviews and see how it's doing. But it just came out, and it was a successful Kickstarter, and that's why I wanted to mention it, because it looks like a pretty fancy game, and they made this fast. I mean, it was like a year turnaround time or less, I think. Yeah, pretty nice. Oh, Microsoft. They've revealed that the Xbox One will allow self-publishing.
Dun, 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 dun. Now, we reported that they weren't going to allow that because they weren't.
They've changed their mind. You know, there's been so much negative press that they're actually restructuring a lot of their policies. Is Microsoft listening to people?
And now, any Xbox One can be a development kit Xbox.
And it's not going to be available on day one, but they said, hey, it'll be available at a later date. I mean, I'm still worried about the Xbox because just all the other stuff. I mean, I don't know.
This is going to be the age of the PC.
It is, and
we're in the living room.
And we're going to help you guys. We're going to help you guys as much as possible. We're going to help you get into the living room. We're going to help you put together a PC that can destroy the console and also do a million other things. It's a multi-purpose, a multi-purpose appliance instead of just being. Well, consoles are kind of becoming a multi-purpose appliance, but not like this.
If there existed a device like the Chromecast that allowed you to put your PC on your living room TV with low latency and very high bandwidth, that would be awesome. And
also had Bluetooth, so you could, you have your controllers routed into it.
Yep.
That'd be really cool.
I'm not saying necessarily that mouse and keyboard in the living room would be, awesome, but I would love to play Fallout in my living room with a mouse and keyboard.
I wouldn't mind. Skyrim would be a hell of a lot of fun with a 50-inch. I don't even have a TV. What am I talking about? I don't even have a living room.
If I got a 50-inch monitor, it would have to be 4K.
I'm like weird. I'm like, no living room. I've got office, kitchen, bedroom. I don't do living rooms. I don't do lounging around and stuff like that. You're here to eat, hang out, sleep.
I have a rather comfortable chair for reading.
Yeah, I guess I could use one of those. That's what I've been using trees for, but I get eaten up by mosquitoes. Luckily, there's a mosquito thing. It's on the website. There's like a new patch you can put on, and mosquitoes won't bite you anymore.
A nicotine patch?
Yeah, they hate nicotine. All right, subscribe over there. And I feel like there's something else I should say.
We skipped over a lot of it. It's okay.
Yeah. Bye. We're gonna maybe hi.